Hi, this is Mr. Nazarian. Our lesson objective today, I can divide whole numbers by fractions using a number line. So we have worked with dividing whole numbers by fractions, but we haven't used this one particular strategy, so I want to introduce it to you today. Alright, so if we have a problem like 6 divided by 2/3, again that means how many groups of 2/3 are there in 6? So to use a number line as a strategy, I have one that's mostly already all made up here. Basically, I just make a line, and then it starts off as a 0, right? And then it's going to mark off just counting by whole numbers by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I made mine go to 6 because that's our dividend. And then I know that my divisor is 2/3, so I took each one of these sections, 0 to 1, 1 to 2, and I broke them up into thirds, right? You can see I've got 1, 2, 3 sections here, right? So this is broken up into thirds, this one's broken up into thirds, this one's broken up into thirds, and so forth all the way to 6. But I don't want to know how many little sections of 1/3 there are. I want to know how many sections of 2/3, how many groups of 2/3 there are in 6. So when you use a number line, that's how you do it. You make the line that goes up to where the dividend is. You break up each of those sections into the fractional parts, and then you start at 0, and you just kind of hop over to whatever that divisor's fractional size is. So I went from 0 to 2/3. This is 1/3, right? 2/3. And then I'm going to go another 2/3, right? Each one of these little sections is 1/3, so I'm going to go over that one to here. So now you can see it's 1 2/3. I'm going to go to the next one. The next one I just kind of leapfrog over these. So each of these little humps that I'm doing here represents a 2/3 section. All right, and then I finally landed on 6. So again, the question is how many groups of 2/3 there are. So that means I'm just going to count up each of these lumps, these sections here, to see how many 2/3 there are, because each one of these represents 2/3. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So there are 9 groups of 2/3 in 6. So 6 divided by 2/3 equals 9. All right. Next one I'm going to have you do. So 10 divided by 2/5. Go ahead and on a piece of paper, go ahead and create a number line and solve for this. How many groups of 2/5 are there in 10? All right. So first off, I'm going to, I have my line here, and then I'm going to break it up into 10, right? So I'll go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This should be 10. So this one right here is going to be 0. This guy right here is going to be 10. I got to have 1 through 9 in between. So go ahead and and try to divide these up as evenly as possible. And you're doing it by hand, and you're kind of eyeballing it. It's not going to be perfect, but I can already tell that I'm putting these a little bit too close. I'm going to space them out a little bit. Okay. So again, it's not going to be perfect. Yours isn't going to be perfect. It might be more perfect than mine, but probably won't be perfect because you're human, right? As long as we get the idea of what's happening here. So I guess I'll just keep going here. So I have 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, right? Now, again, we're not dividing it by 1, though. We're dividing by groups of 2/5. Which means, and I'm going to just do this, okay, which means I'm going to break each of these 1 whole sections, right, into fifths. So if I'm breaking into 5 sections, that means I'm going to have 4 lines. Again, not perfect, but yours should look something like this, right? Where you count from 0 up to 10, and then you break up each of those into fifths. And just because there's so many of these, I'm just going to, before I start leapfrogging, I'm going to just make sure that in between each of the whole numbers I have 4 lines, which tells me there's 5 sections for each one. Just going to double check. I always like to double check because I do make mistakes sometimes, as you know. Okay, so now it's time to do leapfrog, right? Now we get to leapfrog. So, do green for this. So I'm going to remember, I'm not going to jump just 1/5, 1/5, 1/5. I'm going to jump 2/5. So I'm going to start here at 0. I'm going to go to the 2/5. Go to this one right here. That's 2/5 now. Leapfrog over this tall one. 2/5. 2/5. Gonna land on the tall one. 2/5. Over this guy. And keep doing this. This is pretty fun. This is pretty darn fun. Okay, hold on. Okay, on the top one, wee, over here. Boom. Over this guy. Up on top, wing. Over the tall guy. And finally landing on 10. Yay! Alright, then we just count them up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. So, how many groups of 2/5 are there in there? There are 25. Okay. All right. So that's a strategy we're going to use tomorrow. We'll work more on that then. See you then. Bye.